Hi, my name is Audrey, and the other group members are Ashley and Sophia. We decided to do our Act of Kindness project by donating to the homeless. We live in different areas, so we couldn't actually do the act together, but we did participate together by planning the project and exactly what we were going to do. And we kind of donated in different times, starting with the beginning of July to the end of July. Um, Now, Ashley, Sophia, and myself wanted our act of kindness to make the biggest impact that we could, even though it was a short project. So we figured that those that were in most need of the basic necessities would make the biggest impact. I'm going to start off our presentation with discussing the reasons why we decided this particular act of kindness project. The first reason is that it doesn't matter where you're at, anywhere in the United States, you're going to find homeless individuals in big towns, big cities, small towns. They're going to be everywhere. We do have a PowerPoint presentation that we couldn't get on the screen, so we will be posting it on a different section, but it shows the number of homeless individuals in 2018 and their families in Kentucky and in South Carolina. Now, these numbers seem pretty high, but if you compare it to many of the other states, they're actually not so high, which is sad to say that there are that many homeless individuals in the United States. And that was one of the main reasons that we decided on this project, because we've all seen these homeless individuals on the sidewalk, at the intersections, asking for food, asking for money, or underneath a bridge trying to sleep, or in homeless camps. The second reason we decided to do this was that we felt that homeless individuals are in need and just need of basic things. Now, Wood, author of Interpersonal Communication, Everyday Encounters, tells us about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which you have to meet your basic needs before you can move further on. Our basic needs are things like food and water. It's things that we have to survive, to live. And then after that, it's like safety, like shelters and belonging and self-esteem. Well, many of these homeless individuals, they can't even provide for their most basic need, like food and water. And so that was the second reason why we decided to do this presentation or this act of kindness. Another reason is because even though homeless individuals are the most in need in most populations, there's not that many people willing to help because of societal perceptions and general stereotypes of these individuals. Wood tells us in our book that societal and community perceptions can also influence our own perceptions of individuals. And I believe that's why most homeless people are treated the way that they are. That a lot of times we'll pass by them on a sidewalk pretending like they're not there, they don't exist. Wood explains this as an I-it communication or I-it relationship. We pretend like they're not part of humanity or they just don't exist. And the other reasons are this general stereotypes. We mark them as dirty, diseased, just they are full of bad choices. They drink alcohol, they're drug users. And a lot of times that's not the case. It's those perceptions that have influenced us to believe that. Now, our group's understanding of the book has helped us to look at this and help us look at our own perceptions. And also Wood tells us that we can change our own perceptions. When we're looking at something, we usually only look at part of the picture, or they're just very subjective. Now we can take a bigger look and actually talk to those that are in that situation and discover their real situation and not be so afraid. So we believe that by helping these individuals, by donating some of their basic necessities, it's not going to only help them, it's going to help change our perceptions and sometimes our fears. And it's also going to possibly help those individuals feel a little bit better about themselves. Now that I've talked to you about some of the reasons why we decided to do this particular act of kindness project, Sophia is going to talk to you about exactly what we did during our act of kindness project and the impact that we believe it had on the receivers.
The Coalition for the Homeless released its annual census for Louisville for 2018, counting 6,986 people. As I drive through Louisville, I'm always seeing them ask for money on the streets, on the corner of intersections, in front of small businesses, and in the shade of an overpass. We as a group decided to create gallon Ziploc nutrition packs where we donated waters, snacks, including granola bars, peanut butter, and crackers, soup, and clean socks to homeless people we saw around town. I, Me and Ashley also went out and went to the underpass downtown and handed out water bottles and granola bars to the homeless that hang out under there or use that overpass as shelter. Audrey had a slightly different experience, being that she doesn't have many homeless people out on the streets of her hometown, so she was able to collect donations and donate directly to a homeless shelter. Next, I'm going to talk about the impact of our act of kindness it had on the receivers. The initial reaction of some of the people we donated to really gave us an almost clear view of how it impacted them. Some people were so grateful that they broke into tears. Others already started drinking the water and eating immediately, and then there were others that asked for money. The most memorable reactions were those that seemed embarrassed of themselves and their situation. According to Wood, our self esteem needs include valuing and respecting ourselves and being valued and respected by others. Throughout our lives, we see ourselves reflected in others' eyes. Our self esteem is shaped by how others communicate with us. Wood, page 25. I think those that were embarrassed thought that they were being judged, but I hope that they took away from this not just resources, but also that there are kind people in this world who aren't here to judge them and are here to lend them a helping hand. I've described our act of kindness and reflected on the impact it had on the receivers, and now Ashley will discuss the impact on us as a group and the conclusion.
As a group, regardless of how we did it, I think we all felt humbled taking away from this project. Talking to the people that we were giving the packs out to made me realize that we don't realize everything we have at our fingertips. We don't realize the shelter and the food that we always have with us is a necessity until it's gone. And these homeless people have none of that. As Sophia mentioned, people are living under a bridge in Louisville because that's their only form of shelter. Another thing I realized when I was trying to talk to the homeless community was, as Wood states, we have to adapt our communication effectively, and we need to engage a dual perspective, solely because when you're talking to a homeless person, you don't want to mention things that you've gone and done that you don't know that they've had the opportunity to go to do. You don't want to mention anything that's going to make them upset or uncomfortable because you don't know them as a person. And as Audrey mentioned, we see them a lot as an I-it or an I-it relationship where they're not real people, but talking to these people, you realize that they are real. They have communication, or they have emotions, they have feelings. They're just like us. They just don't have a home to live in. And overall, I think that really did make me feel humble. It made me realize everything that I had, and it also made me sad because they don't get to have a normal life that we see as a normal life. They have to fight to constantly find shelter and find food and communicate solely just with each other, because when you see a homeless person on the side of the street, usually people are just trying to walk past them and ignore them and try to just get away from them as soon as possible. And so the only communication that they have is with each other. And they form almost sort of a family. When I was talking to some of the homeless people on the side of the road, they would mention other homeless people that they knew, and they would just talk about them like they were family. And that's something that we don't really have as a community. Like, we have friends, but not because of the situation that we're in. Usually it's different. So to see the reason that they were, okay, in a sense, is that they have each other to lean on. And, it just made me feel humble. For our conclusion, what our project was me, Sophia, and Audrey all got together and donated some food, water, water, food, socks, and Band-Aids, stuff like that to homeless people. Sophia and I got to go and physically do it while Audrey collected a bunch of donations and gave it to a homeless shelter. We talked about how the receiving party reacted and how we felt after it. And our biggest takeaway from this is how societal perceptions are not correct and how we see homeless people as these objects that we should stay away from, when in reality, they are real people with real emotions. And I think they get a bad rep because of the majority of the bad homeless population that are drug users or alcoholics, when in reality, not all of them are. Some of them are veterans, some of them have illnesses that don't allow them to work, some of them just were born into homelessness. And I think as a community, if we take a step back and just look at it, we realize that they are also just people. Thank you.